Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Saturday, January 8th, 2022. Today we'll get ready to read episode 6 of The Last Admiral, taking up where we left off on page 46. Some notable historical events on this day. In 1815, the Battle of New Orleans took place. Major General Andrew Jackson defeated the British Army, who were attempting to capture New Orleans. 1935, Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, was born. In 1945, the Soviets handed over Berlin to the U.S. and British armies. And in 1947, the singer David Bowie was also born. So many great historical moments on this day in history. Okay, turning page 46. We'll begin. Okay. We'll start off about where I left off before. Acklon met Derek's gaze and warned, "One final note. You must read every word and line of this book, from the beginning to the end. If you should miss even a single phrase in its complete meaning, then you will meet your doom. Meditate and lock yourself away so that no one may distract you. The vellum requires at least 8 hours reading until the end. Once you have completed it, you may peruse the book in the future however you wish." Derek, sliding the chain over his head, tucked the key away beneath his shirt. Turning the book around, he closed it. Fastening the latch, it shrank back down to its original size. "I think I'll read it another day." "Wise," Vlad agreed. "Ah, yes," Acklon noted. "Two gifts still remain." Grabbing the corner of the second cloth, he revealed a wide silver belt. Magical clouds streamed across its surface where the sunlight streaming in through the window touched it. Its buckle was a wide oval-shaped plate designed to protect the wearer's midsection. Additional plates faded away from it to meet the small of the back. Its artisanship was flawless. "This is the girdle of Skygate. He who wears it gains the powers of Poseidon's mariners. In addition to incredible strength," he explained, "you will be able to call down lightning from a tempest, control the wind, and breathe underwater. I give it to you, Wraith, to use in defense of our lands. Along with your skills as a swordsman, it should make you formidable indeed." And the footnote says Poseidon's mariners are members of an aquatic race of giants who live beneath the ocean. Poseidon granted them dominion over the elements and the ability to summon and control storms at sea. They're my version of Gary Gygax in Dungeons and Dragons storm giants. Okay. Picking up the girdle as if it was the most fragile baby, Wraith was overwhelmed. "You honor me, sir." "It is only a small thing," Acklon declared, "after so many years of friendship. Our family and all of the people who rely on us will need you in the coming months. Remember all that we have here and use it to survive the coming storm." "I will," Wraith promised with welling eyes. "And here I have one final gift for Vlad, my firstborn son." Unveiling an ivory tube fashioned from mammoth's horn, he uncapped it. Withdrawing a tattered old parchment, he carefully unrolled it upon the table. The scroll contained the spell, as well as a list including all of the necessary ingredients and the potions required for it to take effect. "This is the demon-binding spell created by Tegun Agoth, the very same scroll that he inscribed before he died." "Before the demon consumed him," Derek concluded. "My father and his troop believed that in order to defeat the Queen, that someone must directly challenge Lothia, the goddess herself. Theron's murder angered Tegun, and so he dared to use the spell in his quest for revenge. No one knows why he failed, but I think that his will faltered at the end, allowing the demon to destroy him." "Then you believe that one of us," Vlad surmised, "must attempt the binding." No, Acklon asserted. I believe that you must do it. I considered it many times, but the risks were too great. The most difficult component to the spell always eluded me, the still beating heart of a demon, and those are rather hard to come by. How is it even possible? I have studied the matter for years, and only one possibility exists on this plane, Acklon said. During the adventures of my youth, I uncovered several ancient scrolls. One of them mentions a gateway to the Shadow Realm that exists deep in the heart of a mountain called Farid Moor. An ancient fortress lies there, where the Lord of Shadow sits upon his high seat. When your power is great, when your power is great enough, challenge the demon and claim his heart. Your failure means our defeat. I'll do it. The scrolls that I speak of are here, resting on the shelves of my library. May the Almighty watch over you, my son. What is the fourth gift, Father? Vlad asked. You mentioned 4 precious gifts. Ha! Acklon chuckled. The fourth gift is for me alone. It is common among gnomes, but to most others it is one of a kind. It is a method of keeping time invented by my old friend Uldric Swifthands, a gnomish mastersmith and an illusionist of unsurpassed skill. He calls it a watch. Hanging from his lapel by a chain, he removed it from his breast pocket. Crafted of gold and other precious metals, he opened its cover, revealing a glass-covered set of hands, one moving more swiftly than the other. Inside the cover was a braid of hair, as black as midnight, and spun about with gold, holding it permanently to the watchback. This is Katora's hair. She gave me this lock before my first voyage. It has never left my side. Precious indeed, Wraith said. Alas for the time, Acklon expressed mournfully. It grows so short. Let us embrace each other one last time before we meet again. They exchanged vigorous farewell hugs and a few unquenchable tears. While they drew apart, he said, My sons, my greatest friend, I will miss you all. I need to gather a few items in my bedroom for the trip. Meet me in the teleportation chamber. I must report within the hour. A self-portrait. Opening his bedroom door, Acklon paused for a moment, looking inside. Wondering if this really was the last time that he might see it, his eyes drank it all in. Their oversized 4-poster bed was dressed tight and covered with a red woven blanket. A few folded towels rested atop of the cedar trunk at the foot of the bed. Across from him, along the south wall, 2 windows flanked Katora's self-portrait. Her picture was the true objective of his visit. His belongings were packed. He needed no more objects. What he needed was far deeper, vastly more insubstantial, and infinitely more important. Entering the room, he closed the door and walked over to her painting. Katora was smiling wistfully at him, there as she always was. Her paintings and a few assorted sketches were the only images that he had of her save for his memories, but those were strong. Placing his hands on the wall framing her picture, he rested his head against hers. I will see you soon, my love. Pausing to look at her face, he thought that she sighed, and the eternal glint of her eyes was there, as if she always had her secrets, not dire, but of joy. The time has come for me to make my final voyage in the name of the Queen. Pausing for a moment, he waited, almost desperately, for her answer. Her eyes bore into hers, or his eyes bore into hers, somehow expecting the real Katora to reside somewhere within. He was no fool. He knew that their time in this world had passed, but his heart always hoped. His yearning dared her to step from every shadow and beckoned her to meet him in the maze of his mind, to stand alone with him in the sanctuary of his heart. A sigh, then one deep breath. Summoning his courage, he finished his thoughts to her. They are ready, my love. Sorry. No father was ever more proud. I will not be long. You need just wait a little longer. Kissing his portrait, he turned away, his right hand lingering by her side. His left hand clutched his watch with an iron grip. Saying no more, he left their room. His family awaited him in the teleportation chamber. He embraced each of them in turn, whispering something special in each of their ears, secret gifts for them alone. Do not cry for me when you hear the news, he instructed. We all know what is to come. Stick to the plan. Show them nothing, no weakness, no fear. Always keep them guessing. I will see you all in a new age, or meet you in the afterlife. Hugging his sons last of all, he contacted Derek's mind and gave him a special gift. Standing before Vlad, he grasped his head in his hands and brought their foreheads gently together. Don't worry, my son. I will return. Make me proud. I will, Father. Barely able to speak, it was to his credit that he shed not a tear, though there were few among them that day that had such strength. Releasing him, he stepped back a pace, stood rigidly at attention, and saluted them all. Doing an about-face, his thaumaturgist circle awaited him. Stepping to its center, amid a complex array of symbols woven into the floor in silver, gold, and other precious metals, he incanted a brief spell, one that he had cast 1,000 times, and disappeared. Reappearing in the air, high above the Dragonian flagship Draco Terribilis, he invoked a second spell and floated gently down onto the rigging of her mainsail near the crow's nest. And the footnote just reiterates the definition of thaumaturge or thaumaturgist. Okay. All right, releasing his spell, he climbed down to the main deck with the nimbleness of a leopard. Good to see you drop in, Admiral, greeted his first mate, J.W. Riza, whose nickname was Fast Pony, because his horsemanship was without equal. J.W. is my Ranger buddy from 3rd Ranger Battalion. He lives in Texas now with his family. He was a great friend to me in the Army. Anyway, with his permission, he is a character in the book. Okay. Good of you to drop in, Admiral, greeted his first mate, J.W. Riza, whose nickname was Fast Pony, because his horsemanship was without equal. J.W. was a man of average height and build, with a kind face, but nothing else about him was average at all. He could ride at full gallop, dismount, and remount in the same action, fence on horseback with the bridle in his mouth, and fire a horseman's bow accurately in any direction at speed. There was no capability of horse and rider that was unknown or unimagined by him. He was a seasoned and capable leader of warriors. Acklon had fought with him in the Shattered Isles, and he had attempted to rescue him from a bout of infantry hazing so severe that it had left J.W. with a permanent injury to both knees. Only a junior officer at the time, he had been unable to save him from the worst of his tormentors, but now, as Admiral, there were few things that were out of his reach. Using his influence in many a platinum coin, Fast Pony was now his most trusted companion and officer. Is everything in order, J.W.? All the supplies and provisions are stowed, sir. Every sailor is now aboard, save for the engineer and his crew. What is the status of the fleet? 14 of our ships are at the ready, Admiral, J.W. reported. Captain Hahn and the Augustus will meet us at the rally point as planned. And where is my engineer? O'Rivers is aboard the Saving Grace in dry dock and overseeing the final fittings of her new mizzenmast. At her last signal, he was due to return within the hour, sir. Okay, and a few footnotes on nautical terminology and the correct way to say JW. Okay. All right. Very well, JW. Please inform me when all hands are aboard. Please give the command to stations. All hands to stations. And as it was a big ship, The command was echoed by the deck sergeant and the young ensign as well. After years of sailing and fighting, with much the same crew now as in the past, each sailor knew his duty and his mission. Their jobs were well defined, cross-trained, and assigned by ability. Acklon had overseen the majority of their training, so that no position remained unmanned should the primary sailor be lost. Keep them at the ready until the engineer and his men are aboard, JW. Give the command, inspect stations. Inspect stations! It was a busy command, but it brought the sailors and their ship into focus, instilling confidence in their team and in their vessel. Acklon watched as his engineer and remaining crew came aboard, but waiting for his first mate's delivery. Sergeant O'Rivers aboard, sir, complete with the crew. The ship is now fully manned. Admiral. Signaled the command to sail on the 11th bell. Sound the 11th, ensign. The 11th bell was a job reserved for the lowest-ranking member of the crew. Their admiral had many reasons for this, but the first that came to mind was cohesiveness of spirit. Someday that young ensign, that ship's errand boy, could be an admiral himself. Climbing the steps to the top of the ship's dragonhead, that awesome symbol of Dragonian power across the globe, that ever-watchful talisman above the ram, whose body and strength cut the sea like the great serpent, the ensign wielded the iron hammer of Terribilis and struck the ship's bell, a 600-pound masterpiece of silver and bronze, saving his mightiest stroke for the last. The final note rang out across the harbor, the 11th bell, and some say that it resonated far off on the mainland as well, so clear was the day and so crisp the breeze. Man the oars, ahead at half-stroke. Drummer, helmsman, guide us through the channel. We row for the open sea. And the definition of stations as a footnote, used here as a nautical command, assigning sailors to their active posts. Okay, that's about all the time we have. We'll begin our next episode on the top of page 53. Fairly good stopping point. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Have a great night and weekend. Take care.